chosen one. You are not watching this by accident, and you did not arrive at this moment by chance. Before you pressed play, heaven had already marked this second as a divine appointment, aligned with perfect spiritual timing and orchestrated by God Himself. Something in your spirit recognized the call, because this moment was written into your journey long before today. Chosen one, hear this with reverence. You are standing at the edge of a supernatural breakthrough. This is not a slow shift, and it is not a delayed promise. This is sudden elevation, divine wealth transfer, and heaven-sent help moving toward you now. What has been locked is being unlocked. What has been delayed is being released. As it is written, the vision is for an appointed time, and at the proper moment it will speak and not lie, as declared in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. Anointed one, heaven has been working behind the scenes while you waited in faith. Resources are being repositioned. Favor is being activated. Help is being dispatched from places you never expected. The dry season that tested your endurance is giving way to supernatural provision and divine acceleration. Chosen one, prepare your heart. What God is about to release is not random. It is intentional, precise, and connected to your calling. Doors no man can shut are about to open, and what comes next will confirm that this was always your appointed time. Chosen one, this is not coincidence, and it is not chance. When heaven pulls you into a moment like this, it is because something in your spirit is already shifting, stretching, awakening. As I speak to you now, I feel that same holy stirring I once felt in my own wilderness seasons. Those moments when nothing seemed to move on the outside, yet something deep within me whispered, "Stay still, heaven is working." I didn't understand it then, but looking back, I see how every silent season was positioning me for a divine release I could never have manufactured through effort or worry. And, chosen one, that same divine orchestration is moving around your life in this very hour. I know what it feels like to pray until your voice shakes fast, until your body trembles, and believe until it feels like your faith is being stretched thin. I've lived those hours when you say, "God, where are you? Why am I still waiting?" Yet now I understand God was not delaying me. He was developing me. And this is exactly where you are standing. Heaven is not ignoring you. Heaven is aligning you. You may not see movement, but trust me, movement is happening. You may not hear answers, but the silence of God is often the sound of strategy. When God prepares a chosen one for elevation, He seldom announces it with noise. He shapes it in stillness, quiet, pruning, unseen, refining, silent, strengthening. I remember seasons where every door stayed shut, no matter how hard I pushed. I thought it was rejection, but it was redirection. The doors weren't closed to punish me. They were closed to protect me from entering rooms I had not yet been fortified to stand in. And chosen one. The resistance you've been facing isn't a sign of failure. It's a sign that God is preparing you for a door that will not require force. It will open because heaven commands it to open. You are being shaped for what you prayed for. Sometimes it's not the blessing that must be changed, it's the vessel. And you, anointed one, are the vessel heaven is refining. I know the frustration of waiting when you feel ready, but God sees what we cannot. He sees the motives we aren't aware of, the fears we haven't acknowledged, the doubts buried under our declarations. But He also sees your faith, your endurance, your tears, your worship in the middle of uncertainty. And heaven responds to those things more than you realize. The divine timing of God is never late, even when it feels slow. It arrives with precision, not pressure. The alignment of heaven does not move by human calendars or earthly clocks. It moves by purpose, and when your purpose reaches maturity, your provision is commanded to appear. There were moments in my life when I cried out, asking why the miracle hadn't come yet. But I later realized that if God had given me the blessing too early, I would have spent it, mismanaged it, or mishandled it. I didn't yet have the character to sustain what I was asking for, and God loved me too much to let my destiny crush me. He waited until I could carry it. Chosen one, that is exactly what He is doing with you. The tension you feel is not punishment, it is preparation. The discomfort is not rejection, it is recalibration. The silence is not absence, it is strategy. You have been in a divine classroom, and every test you've endured has been part of your promotion. Heaven has been watching how you respond when nothing moves. Heaven has been weighing your consistency, your faithfulness, your worship under pressure. And though you may not realize it, you have passed tests you didn't know you were taking. Every time you prayed instead of panicked, you passed a test. Every time you stayed obedient when life felt unfair, you passed a test. Every time you chose faith when fear tried to suffocate you, you passed a test. Anointed one, you are closer than you feel. Something in your atmosphere is shifting, and though your eyes can't see it yet, your spirit can sense the tremor of what's coming. You have not been forgotten, you have been being formed. And when heaven finishes forming a chosen one, elevation is not optional. It is inevitable. Chosen one. As we move deeper into this revelation, I need you to understand something that took me years to fully grasp. Divine seasons do not unfold the way earthly seasons do. In the natural world, we anticipate predictable cycles. Spring follows, winter harvest follows planting. But in the realm of the spirit, timing is not chronological, it is transformational. God doesn't promote based on dates. He promotes based on development. And that is why your waiting has felt so unpredictable. You have been measuring time by days, months, and years, but heaven has been measuring time by growth, endurance, surrender, and spiritual capacity. Anointed one. I remember a period in my life when I kept telling God I'm ready now because in my limited vision I believed I had done enough, learned enough, matured enough. But God, in His infinite wisdom, saw the hidden places of my heart, the places still fragile, still fearful, still clinging to old patterns. He knew that if He opened certain doors too soon, the weight of the blessing would collapse the foundation I was standing on. And so He waited. He waited not because He enjoyed my discomfort, but because He was committed to my destiny. He waited because unprepared success is a silent destroyer. And chosen one. He is doing the same for you right now. There is a shaping happening inside you that no one else sees. People may see your resilience, your strength, your faith. They may applaud your endurance. But only God sees the inner construction, the strengthening of your spiritual backbone, the anchoring of your identity, the sharpening of your discernment. And this inner work is what qualifies you for the outer breakthrough. You may feel hidden, but hiddenness is God's highest place of preparation. It is where roots grow deep. It is where character is chiseled. It is where the noise of life quiets enough for you to hear the whispers of heaven. I know what it means to feel forgotten while watching others accelerate. I know the sting of seeing someone walk into what looks like your breakthrough while you remain in the shadows. But I also know now that God does some of His greatest work in the shadows. He prepares kings in fields. He shapes prophets in caves. He trains warriors in obscurity. And He strengthens chosen ones in silence. What looks like delay is really divine insulation. God hiding you, so nothing can sabotage what He is building in you. There have been moments when I cried out from the depths of my frustration, asking God when my turn would come. But with time, I realized He wasn't withholding anything from me. He was cultivating something within me. He was stretching my endurance, deepening my patience, purifying my motives, and enlarging my capacity to receive. Because when heaven pours, it pours without limit. You don't want to receive overflow with a cracked vessel. You want to receive overflow with a vessel fortified by truth, by faith, by conviction, and by surrender. That is what He is doing in you now. And chosen one, every sacrifice you've made in private, every battle you've fought in silence, every tear you've cried in the dark heaven has recorded each one. Nothing you have endured has been wasted. In my own life, I've learned that God multiplies what we offer Him in faith. The little strength you gave when you had no strength left, the small prayers you whispered when your heart was breaking, the obedience you practiced even when you didn't understand. Heaven gathers these things like seeds, and those seeds become the harvest that surprises you in seasons like this. You may be standing in what feels like your driest place, but dry places are where God sends rivers. Wilderness seasons are where God reveals Himself as provider, sustainer, and deliverer. I have felt the supernatural shift of God turning famine into feast delay, into acceleration, silence into strategy. And chosen one, that same shift is coming toward you. You are closer than you think. You are stronger than you know. You are more prepared than you realize. Heaven is not waiting for approval, permission, or timing from the world around you. Heaven is waiting for the moment your spirit aligns with God's intention for your life. And I sense that alignment forming within you even now. When purpose and timing collide, breakthroughs that seemed impossible become inevitable. Doors that refuse to open begin to unlock without resistance. Provision that felt delayed suddenly arrives with speed. This is how divine timing moves quietly, suddenly, and with undeniable authority. Chosen one. The season you are entering will not look like the season you are leaving. The spiritual weight you have carried is about to become the spiritual strength you stand on. The tears you have shed will water the soil of your blessing, and what once felt like a long night is about to break into prophetic dawn. Heaven is positioning you, preparing you, and propelling you into what has already been written over your life. Chosen one. As we step into this next depth of revelation, I want you to recognize the sacred truth unfolding around your life. Every pressure you've endured, every unanswered question, every quiet battle you fought alone is now working together to shape the kind of vessel heaven can trust with real power, real influence, and real abundance. There is nothing accidental about the weight you've carried. The very things that felt like they were breaking you were actually building you. And though your mind may not have understood the purpose of the journey, your spirit has been learning, adapting, stretching, and maturing through every step. That is why you feel different now. You don't react the way you used to. You don't panic the way you once did. There is a stillness forming inside you, a strength that wasn't there before, and that is the evidence that heaven has been teaching you in silence. Anointed one. I remember walking through seasons where I thought God was distant, when in reality He was closer than my breath. But His closeness didn't look like comfort, it looked like pressure. It looked like pruning. It looked like battles that exposed the weak places in me so He could strengthen them. That is the nature of divine preparation. It feels harsh, but it heals. It feels heavy, but it elevates. It feels like loss, but it produces transformation. And this chosen one is why you cannot despise the seasons that felt barren or painful. Those were the seasons that shaped your spiritual DNA. Those were the seasons where God was removing what could not go with you into your next dimension. Because the promise spoken over your life requires a version of you that is refined, disciplined, spiritually sharp, and anchored in God's voice rather than in human approval. I know what it feels like to look at your life and think, why is nothing happening? But I have lived long enough to see that the greatest breakthroughs often germinate in the soil of stillness. When nothing moves, heaven is usually building the foundation for something that cannot be shaken. You may not have seen progress, but you've been experiencing preparation. You may not have seen supernatural provision yet, but your spirit has been learning supernatural dependence. And that is what qualifies you for divine wealth, because in the kingdom, wealth is not stored in hands. It is stored in hearts. God releases resources to those who will steward them for purpose, not pride. And chosen one, your heart has been in training for this very thing. There was a time when I misunderstood God's delays as rejection. I thought He had bypassed me while blessing others. Little did I know that those delays were divine shields, preventing me from stepping into opportunities that would have harmed me, connections that would have drained me, or blessings I didn't have the character to sustain. And now I say this to you with absolute certainty. God has not been delaying you. He has been protecting you. Every door that stayed closed because heaven was preserving your destiny, not limiting it. Every relationship that ended was removed, so your heart would not be entangled with someone who could not accompany you into your assignment. Every resource that didn't arrive at the time you expected was withheld because your hands were not yet ready to handle it. And now, chosen one, your preparation is matching your promise. Your spirit has matured in ways you have not even fully recognized. You are more discerning now, more spiritually aware, more sensitive to the nudges of the Holy Spirit. Where you once reacted quickly, you now respond with wisdom. Where you once doubted, you now pause and listen. Where you once panicked, you now breathe and trust. This is what divine refinement produces: a spirit that is anchored, a heart that is steady, and a mind that is aligned with heaven's rhythm. And that rhythm is accelerating around you now. I feel the shift. Even as I speak, your wilderness is losing its grip, your dry season is losing its authority, and the spiritual limitations that once suffocated you are breaking off. Anointed one. The pressure you've carried is about to transform into promotion. You have been surviving on faith alone, but now you will begin living in the manifestation of what you believed. The prayers you prayed with trembling hands are about to return to you as answered testimonies. The seeds you sowed through tears will become harvests that overflow beyond your expectations. And the spiritual strength developed in your hardest battles will become the stability you stand on in your season of abundance. I have seen this pattern in my own life. After every crushing season came a breakthrough I could not explain. And I believe with full conviction that heaven is preparing to do the same for you. Chosen one, you are entering a moment where divine timing and divine purpose are converging. The season ahead will not mirror the season behind you. What once felt slow will suddenly move with speed. What once seemed blocked will effortlessly open. What once drained you will be replaced by supernatural provision, clarity, and alignment. This is not wishful thinking, it is divine orchestration, and you are standing at the threshold of its manifestation. Chosen one. As we continue deeper into this prophetic flow, I want you to understand something that often goes unnoticed. Every spiritual weight you've carried has been forming spiritual authority within you. Authority is never given cheaply in the kingdom. It is forged through brokenness, through endurance, through nights when you had to pray yourself into peace because nothing around you made sense. You didn't just survive those seasons, you were being shaped by them. And now, without even realizing it, you carry a presence, a depth, a spiritual gravity that only comes from walking through fire with God and not letting go. This is why people look at you and sense something different. This is why you walk into environments and the atmosphere shifts even when you say nothing. Authority is not noise, it is weight. And chosen one, you carry weight in the spirit. I remember moments in my own journey when I begged God to take away the pressure I felt. I thought the pressure was a sign that something was wrong, when in reality it was a sign that something was being birthed. Pressure is the evidence of formation. A seed feels pressure before it breaks open. A butterfly feels pressure before it emerges. Even Jesus felt pressure in Gethsemane before stepping into his assignment. And you, anointed one, have felt that same pressure, not because you were failing, but because you were changing dimensions. You were outgrowing old versions of yourself, shedding old fears, releasing old identities. You were being prepared for a level of purpose that cannot coexist with who you used to be. Sometimes God will allow you to be pressed in hidden places so he can elevate you in appointed places. I once walked through a season where every door I knocked on stayed closed. I felt like God had forgotten my name. But now, looking back with spiritual hindsight, I see that every closed door was a divine reroute. God was steering me away from opportunities that matched my desire, but not my destiny. And chosen one, some of the greatest protection you've ever received, came disguised as disappointment. You thought you were being denied, but you were being delivered. You thought you were being overlooked, but you were being preserved for a greater assignment. This is why the warfare against your life felt unusually intense. The enemy never fights what does not threaten him. The pressure, the confusion, the spiritual exhaustion, these were all indicators that heaven has marked you for something extraordinary. And I need you to hear this with your spirit, not your mind. What you have gone through would have crushed others, but it refined you. You didn't break. You bent, you shook, you cried, you wrestled, but you didn't break. And that resilience is why heaven can trust you with elevation. It takes a certain kind of person to carry kingdom wealth, not just financially, but spiritually. Wealth is influence. Wealth is visibility. Wealth is responsibility. And before God puts wealth into the hands of a chosen one, he ensures their heart has been purified. He ensures their motives have been refined. He ensures that the blessing won't distort their identity or dilute their humility. And that's why your journey has been so intense. You weren't just being prepared to receive wealth, you were being prepared to steward it with integrity. I remember times when I prayed for increase, but God answered with pruning. I didn't understand then, but now I see clearly. The pruning was not punishment, it was preparation for growth. The discomfort was not rejection, it was alignment. I had to learn how to trust God in seasons when nothing added up. I had to surrender control in moments when I wanted clarity. And now I see that God was training my spirit to operate on faith, not familiarity. Faith is the currency of heaven and chosen one. Your account has been growing through every moment you trusted God without evidence, every prayer you whispered without seeing results, every act of obedience you gave when no one was watching. And now, because you have learned to trust God in scarcity, you will be able to honor Him in abundance. Because you learned to worship through tears, you will be able to worship in triumph. Because you remained faithful with little, heaven is preparing to release much. You are not stepping into this next season empty-handed. You are stepping in with spiritual maturity that was carved into you, anointing that was activated in you, and authority that was birthed through you. Chosen one. Something in your spiritual atmosphere is shifting even now. You may not feel it yet, but your spirit knows. Your dreams are changing, your discernment is sharpening, your inner strength is rising. These are all signs of spiritual acceleration, a divine quickening that happens when heaven is aligning your steps with your assignment. Things that once took years will begin to happen in months. Things that once drained you will no longer affect you. And opportunities that once felt distant will now feel drawn to you because heaven is positioning you for visibility, influence, and divine stewardship. This is your moment of becoming who God always knew you were, becoming the vessel capable of carrying the blessing, becoming the version of yourself that can walk into destiny without fear. You are not just being elevated, you are being unveiled. Chosen one. As we continue, I need you to feel the weight of this truth settling into your spirit. You are not simply walking into a new season, you are walking into a new identity. The person you were when the battles began is not the person emerging now. Something has shifted in you, even if your circumstances haven't shifted yet. Your spirit has become more discerning. Your heart has become more surrendered. Your mind has become more anchored in divine truth. These inward transformations are proof that heaven has been working on you long before heaven releases anything to you. Breakthrough is never external first. It is internal. And, chosen one, the internal breakthrough has already begun. There were days in my past when I thought nothing was happening in my life. I felt stuck, overlooked, forgotten. I saw others rise, others prosper, others step into opportunities while I remained in what felt like the same spiritual place. But now I see that I wasn't stagnant, I was being stabilized. God was solidifying the foundation under me so that when breakthrough came, I would not crumble under its weight. And this is what He is doing in you. You may think you're standing still, but heaven is anchoring you, strengthening your core, building the spiritual infrastructure needed to sustain the elevation that is coming. Anointed one. I want to speak to that part of you that feels tired from believing. Faith can become weary when results seem delayed, but weary faith is not weak faith. In fact, weary faith is often the strongest kind because it stays alive even when it doesn't feel rewarded. I have had moments where my faith felt fragile, moments where I had to pray, not because I was strong, but because I was desperate. But I learned something precious in those moments. God does some of His greatest work in hearts that feel like they are barely holding on. When your strength is depleted, His strength is revealed. When your confidence breaks, His faithfulness carries you. You are not standing today because of your own strength, you are standing because heaven has upheld you. This is why your journey has felt so spiritual, so emotional, so intense. Heaven wasn't just setting up a blessing for you. Heaven was setting you up to become someone who can steward a blessing responsibly. Divine wealth is not the same as earthly wealth. Earthly wealth flows through systems. Divine wealth flows through purpose. God gives resources to those whose hearts He has refined through fire. You have gone through fire. You have prayed through storms. You have survived seasons that were designed to dismantle you. But instead of breaking, you bent. Instead of shutting down, you pressed through. That endurance is the mark of a chosen one. I remember a moment when everything in my life felt like it was collapsing at once. Doors closed, people changed, opportunities dried up. And in that moment I thought I was losing everything. But in truth, God was removing the scaffolding that held me up so He could become my foundation. Sometimes God will strip away everything that feels familiar so that you can finally see what is eternal. And chosen one, the clarity you are stepping into is part of your preparation. The fog is lifting, the confusion is breaking, the uncertainty is loosening its grip. Your spirit is hearing God more clearly now because the noise around you has been silenced. Some of the people who walked away from your life were not meant to understand this next level of calling. Some connections that ended had to end because their presence would have interfered with your purpose. Not everyone can go where you are going. Elevation requires separation. Promotion demands pruning. And I can tell you from my own experience, once God removes what is not aligned with your destiny, He begins to send what is. You will start meeting people who carry insight, encouragement, wisdom, and divine connection. Heaven assigns people to your journey when your journey requires acceleration. Your spirit has begun to outgrow old environments, old conversations, and old versions of yourself. You have felt it even if you didn't have language for it. You've sensed a shift inside you, a discomfort with what used to feel comfortable. That is the sign that the old season has expired. You are being prepared for circles that carry influence, assignments that carry impact, and opportunities that carry divine weight. Chosen one, hear me with your spirit. You are entering a season where the things that used to drain you will no longer have access to you. You are stepping into a space where peace becomes your default clarity, becomes your companion, and purpose becomes your daily direction. Heaven is aligning everything with precision. Even the things that felt random were part of a divine sequence. This is why the fire didn't destroy you. This is why the storm didn't drown you. This is why the pressure didn't crush you. You were being preserved for destiny. You were being refined for purpose. You are being strengthened for wealth that carries responsibility, influence, and assignment. And now the atmosphere around your life is shifting again. You can sense it, the anticipation, the stirring, the holy tension of something approaching. You are not imagining it. You are escorting your spirit into the season God designed before you were even born. Chosen one. As we continue this journey, I need you to recognize something deeply spiritual, yet profoundly practical. Every moment of pressure you endured has not only shaped your spirit, but has sharpened your perception. You see things differently now. You feel shifts before they happen. You sense when something is off, even if no one says a word. This spiritual sensitivity did not appear overnight. It was carved into you through seasons of waiting, watching, and worshipping in silence. You were trained in the unseen, and now heaven is preparing to reveal you in the seen. I remember times in my life when God would close a door so abruptly that I felt winded by the impact. At the time, I didn't understand the suddenness. I thought something was wrong with me. I thought I had misheard, God misstepped or mismanaged the opportunity. But later, looking back, I realized those sudden closures were divine interceptions. God was saving me from rooms that would have drained my purpose, people who would have derailed my calling, and timelines that would have tripped my destiny. And chosen one, some of the most painful endings you experienced were actually God's greatest mercies. He didn't let you settle in spaces too small for where He is taking you. Anointed one, You have to understand this destiny is not random. Every shift is intentional. Every delay is instructional. Every disappointment is directional. God doesn't just align things around you, He aligns things within you. He aligns your thoughts, your desires, your discernment, your habits, even your appetite for what is holy. That inner alignment is what qualifies you for the outer alignment that is now unfolding. Heaven never releases what you are not aligned to receive. I've walked through seasons when I begged God for clarity, expecting Him to give me answers. But instead of answers, He gave me alignment. He didn't change the situation, He changed me. And once I changed, the situation shifted on its own. This is the pattern of divine preparation. God transforms the vessel before He pours out the blessing and chosen one. He has been transforming you in ways you may not fully recognize. You have become more patient, more resilient, more spiritually aware, more surrendered. These changes are not small, they are monumental in the spirit realm. Some of the battles you fought were not attacks against your finances, your relationships, or your opportunities. They were attacks against your alignment. The enemy wanted to pull you off course, confuse your identity, exhaust your spirit, and weaken your faith, because a distracted chosen one is a delayed chosen one. But you held on. You stayed rooted even when everything in you felt shaken. And now heaven is rewarding that endurance. I need you to hear this with depth. You are stepping into a season where your spirit will move faster than your circumstances. You will feel things before they manifest. You will sense provision coming before you see it. This is spiritual acceleration, the ability to discern divine movement before it becomes visible. Not everyone carries this grace. It is only given to those who have been trained in the shadows, those who have learned to hear God's whisper in silence. You have grown in ways you haven't even fully acknowledged. Your prayers are more prophetic now. Your worship carries more weight. Your words carry more authority. You don't just speak, you shift atmospheres. You don't just hope, you expect. You don't just believe, you align. And alignment is the birthplace of manifestation. Chosen one, think about the times when everything around you felt confusing. You were walking through seasons that made no sense on the surface, and yet somewhere deep within you, you felt God whisper, "Keep going." That whisper guided you through storms you didn't think you could survive. That whisper kept your purpose alive when discouragement tried to suffocate you. And that same whisper is guiding you now into a season where heaven is not only releasing provision, but releasing acceleration. I have lived long enough to understand that God does not prepare chosen ones merely for survival. He prepares them for stewardship, for influence, impact, and spiritual authority. And that is why your process has been so intense. You are being entrusted with something weighty. Heaven is giving you access to resources, opportunities, relationships, and realms you once thought were beyond your reach. You are entering a season where things that felt distant will suddenly feel near, where prayers that felt unanswered will suddenly unfold with clarity, where opportunities that once ignored you will now seek you out. This is not luck. This is not coincidence. This is divine alignment meeting divine timing. This is the supernatural rhythm of heaven syncing with your destiny. Anointed one, I feel this strongly for you. The struggle you came out of is nothing compared to the strength you are walking into. The silence you endured is nothing compared to the guidance you are about to receive. The lack you survived is nothing compared to the provision that is about to locate you. You are stepping into a season where all things begin to work together in ways you could not orchestrate, predict, or engineer. Heaven is taking over the storyline now. Your spirit is ready. Your heart is prepared. Your alignment is complete. Chosen one. As we move into this next unveiling of your journey, I want you to feel the shift that is taking place within and around you. There is a divine momentum building slowly at first, then suddenly, and your spirit has already begun to sense it. It's that feeling you can't fully describe, the inner stirring that tells you something is coming, even though you can't yet see it. You may have tried to dismiss it as imagination, but it isn't imagination. It is recognition. Your spirit is recognizing the nearness of a season heaven has been preparing you for over years, not days. Every spiritual battle, every emotional valley, every lonely night has been pointing to this turning point. Anointed One. I remember a time when I felt a similar stirring. I didn't know whether to be excited or afraid because the shift felt bigger than anything I had ever walked through. I felt as if God was gently pushing me out of who I had been and into who I was meant to become. It was uncomfortable because it required leaving behind mindsets I had outgrown, relationships that no longer aligned, and habits that didn't match my destiny. And yet, in that discomfort, I felt a strange peace, a peace that didn't make sense in the natural, but made perfect sense in the spirit. You are standing in that same tension now, the tension between who you were and who you are becoming. And beloved, that tension is holy. There is a maturity rising in you, a spiritual confidence that wasn't there before. Not arrogance, confidence. Confidence born from surviving storms you didn't think you could endure. Confidence born from praying prayers when fear told you to quit. Confidence born from learning that God is not only your provider, but your preserver, your protector, your guide. You have walked through fire and discovered you were fireproof. You have walked through storms and discovered the storm could not drown what God called. And because of this, you no longer move as someone who hopes God is with them. You move as someone who knows God is with them. That knowing is what the enemy feared. That knowing is why the warfare intensified at certain points. The enemy wasn't threatened by your gift. He was threatened by your growth. He wasn't concerned about your potential. He was terrified of your alignment. When a chosen one becomes aligned, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and purposefully, their very existence becomes a threat to darkness. And, chosen one, your alignment has been costing the enemy too much ground. That is why he tried to distract you, drain you, discourage you, and derail you. But despite everything, you stayed rooted. Others would have collapsed under the pressure that you endured, but you endured it and kept your faith intact. And now heaven is responding. I want you to understand something very clearly. You are not merely entering a new season, you are stepping into a new dimension. In a season, things shift around you. In a dimension, things shift because of you. You begin to attract different conversations, different opportunities, different kinds of people, not because you are trying harder, but because you have become someone different. Destiny recognizes you differently now. Purpose responds to you differently now. Even heaven is interacting with you differently now, not as someone who is learning, but as someone who is ready. This readiness comes from a type of surrender most people never reach. You surrendered your timeline. You surrendered your expectations. You surrendered the version of your life you once dreamed of so that God could give you the version He designed. Surrender is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the wisdom of a chosen one who understands that God's plan is always greater than their pain, greater than their fears, greater than their limitations. And because you surrendered, God can now elevate you without it destroying you. Chosen one. I want you to reflect for a moment on how far you have come. Think about the person you were 5 years ago, 3 years ago, even 1 year ago. Think about the doubts that used to control you, the fears that used to silence you, the insecurities that used to shrink you. They do not have power over you the way they once did. You have grown in silence, and now heaven is about to reveal what quiet growth looks like when God breathes on it. There is a reason you feel anticipation building. There is a reason your spirit feels restless, yet expectant. You are in the final moments before divine manifestation. This is the spiritual place where heaven aligns resources, people, opportunities, and timing with precision. You are not hoping for alignment. You are standing in the middle of alignment. I have experienced this moment before, the moment right before God shifts everything. It feels like standing at the edge of a shoreline just before the tide comes rushing in. You cannot predict the moment, but you can feel the pull. And chosen one, heaven's tide is pulling toward you now. This next movement of God in your life will not be small, gradual, or subtle. It will be a demonstration of His faithfulness, His timing, His provision, and His promise. Not because you earned it, but because you endured for it. Chosen one. As we continue into this next unfolding of your journey, I want you to breathe deeply and let your spirit absorb this truth. You are entering a season where heaven is not only responding to your faith, it is rewarding your endurance. This is not the kind of reward that comes from a single prayer or a moment of obedience. This is the reward that comes from years of pressing through storms, walking through silence, and trusting God when nothing made sense. It is the reward reserved for those who held on, even when their hands were trembling, for those who stayed faithful, even when their hearts were breaking, for those who refused to let go of God, even when they felt forgotten by man. You are one of those few. You are a remnant. You are a survivor of seasons that would have crushed others, and heaven has taken notice. Anointed one, you may not realize how deeply your spirit has matured. You may still look at yourself through the lens of who you used to be, measuring your progress by visible accomplishments or outward milestones. But heaven measures differently. Heaven measures by transformation, and the transformation inside you has been profound. The way you hear God now, the way you discern, the way you pray, the way you feel spiritual shifts. These are signs that you have moved from spiritual infancy to spiritual authority. You have endured the stretching that most people avoid. You have walked through the pruning that most people resist. And because of that, you now carry a weight in the spirit that cannot be manufactured or imitated. I remember a moment in my own walk when I felt God whisper, "Everything is about to change." I looked around and saw nothing that resembled change. My finances were tight, my relationships were strained, my dreams seemed distant. Yet somehow I felt the shift before it manifested. My spirit sensed the movement of heaven long before my life reflected it. And I learned something powerful in that season. Manifestation often arrives last. First comes alignment, then surrender, then refinement, then revelation. Only after these come transformation and finally manifestation. And chosen one. You have walked through every one of these phases without even realizing it. You surrendered when God stripped away things you thought you needed. You aligned when you let go of relationships that were draining you. You were refined through silent battles nobody saw. You received revelation when God opened your eyes to who you really are. And now you are standing in transformation right before manifestation. That stirring you feel in your spirit is not anxiety, it is spiritual recognition. Your destiny is calling to you. Your purpose is pulling you forward. Your next season is already opening in the unseen. Chosen one, I want you to reflect on something sacred. Not everyone who starts a journey finishes it. Some faint along the way. Some turn back when the process becomes painful. Some lose faith when the waiting becomes long. But you, despite the warfare, despite the exhaustion, despite the doubts, you kept going. You showed up for God, even when you felt empty. You prayed prayers you weren't sure you had the strength to pray. You worshipped in seasons where others would have broken, and heaven recorded it all. Your tears were not wasted. Your sacrifices were not forgotten. Your obedience was not overlooked. And your faith has built something in the spirit, a structure, a foundation, a spiritual reservoir that heaven is now preparing to fill. The blessing coming toward you is not small because the preparation within you was not small. You've grown too much for small things. You've matured too deeply for temporary breakthroughs. Heaven is preparing something substantial, something lasting, something that carries legacy. But in order to receive this, you must understand what is happening around you right now. You are in a spiritual transition. Transitions feel confusing because one chapter is closing while the next has not yet fully opened. You may feel emotionally unsettled, spiritually restless, mentally unsure. But this unrest is not a sign of misalignment. It is a sign of spiritual expansion. You are stretching into a new realm, a new capacity, a new version of yourself. And stretching always feels uncomfortable. I have walked through transitions that felt like being suspended between two worlds, the world I was leaving and the world I had not yet entered. It is a holy in-between place, a place where trust becomes your oxygen. And chosen one, you are standing in that sacred space right now. It is not a place to fear, it is a place to breathe, to listen, to expect. Because when God transitions a chosen one, it is always for placement, not displacement. Chosen one, hear this deeply. You are not being moved away from something. You are being moved into something, something appointed, something orchestrated, something you were born for. Your steps are not random, they are ordered. Your timing is not late, it is aligned. Your breakthrough is not distant, it is approaching. And heaven is not preparing you to survive this next season. Heaven is preparing you to reign in it. Chosen one. As we step further into this divine unfolding, I want you to slow your breathing and truly sense what heaven is doing around you. There is a rearranging happening in the unseen, subtle, yet undeniable that is preparing the ground for a kind of breakthrough you have not experienced before. You may not fully grasp it yet, but your spirit does. That quiet stirring in your chest, that gentle restlessness in your soul, that holy anticipation rising without explanation, these are all signs that heaven is positioning you for a supernatural elevation. Not the kind that comes through effort or striving, but the kind that arrives through alignment, obedience, and divine orchestration. Anointed one. I remember a time when my life felt like it was dissolving in my hands. Everything familiar was shifting, relationships changed, opportunities dried up. Even my sense of personal identity began to feel unstable. I kept asking God, why are you taking so much away from me? And in the stillness, I sensed him whisper, I'm not taking from you. I'm making room for what is coming. It took me years to understand the depth of that truth. Sometimes God allows a stripping so that nothing competes with His blessing when it arrives. And, chosen one, some of what you lost was never loss, it was clearing. Clearing for abundance, clearing for clarity, clearing for elevation that required empty hands and an available heart. There is something profound about the place you are standing in right now. It is the place where heaven begins to shift the narrative of your life. The battles you fought have prepared you. The burdens you carried have strengthened you. The heartbreaks you survived have purified you. What once weakened you has now become the very thing that empowers you. There were seasons where you felt too tired to continue, yet you continued. Seasons where your faith felt too fragile to survive, yet it survived. That resilience was not accidental, it was divinely cultivated. And now heaven is about to breathe on what you have built in private. Anointed one, your spiritual sight has sharpened. You can detect deception faster. You recognize divine connections more clearly. You sense spiritual warfare sooner. You no longer tolerate environments that suffocate your calling. This is not you changing, this is you maturing. Heaven has been upgrading your discernment because what is coming will require a greater level of clarity. You cannot step into your next dimension with the same vulnerability you once carried. And that is why God has been fortifying you from the inside out. There were days when you questioned your worth, days when you wondered if you were really chosen, days when you doubted your calling. But chosen one, the very fact that you kept seeking God in those moments is proof of your calling. Weak faith does not seek, only chosen faith does, and that seeking has created a spiritual hunger in you that heaven cannot ignore. You are not the same person who entered this wilderness. You are stronger, you are wiser, you are spiritually awakened. You can feel when something is not aligned. You can sense when heaven is guiding you. You are walking with a confidence that does not come from pride, it comes from survival. Chosen one, there is a new rhythm to your life now, a divine rhythm, a cadence of grace, favor, and supernatural timing. You may feel like nothing has changed externally, but something has absolutely changed internally. You are not reacting from fear anymore, you are responding from wisdom. You are not trying to force outcomes, you are trusting divine timing. You are not chasing provision, you are attracting it through alignment. This is what it means to walk as one chosen by heaven. You become a magnet for what is meant for you. I have learned that before God blesses a person publicly, He strengthens them privately. And you, anointed one, have been in that private strengthening season. The muscles of your faith have grown. The capacity of your spirit has expanded. The conviction in your heart has deepened. And now heaven can trust you with more responsibility, more visibility, more provision, more influence. Because you will not mishandle what God places in your hands. You have been tested, proven, and refined. This transition you are in might feel disorienting, but it is sacred. It is not the ending of something, it is the emergence of someone. You, the real you, the healed you, the aligned you, the awakened you. This is not just a new chapter, this is a new mantle, a new assignment, a new authority. Everything around you is shifting because everything within you has shifted. Chosen one. The ground is rumbling beneath your feet because heaven is preparing to open something before you that no man can shut. And you are ready, more ready than you know. Chosen one. As we move into this next depth of revelation, I want you to understand that heaven has been building a momentum in your life that cannot be stopped, reversed, or sabotaged. This momentum did not begin today. It began in the seasons when you felt like you were crawling through darkness, when you felt unseen, unheard, and unrecognized. Those were not wasted seasons. They were foundational seasons. They were the seasons where your spirit learned to stand without applause, believe without evidence, and trust without clarity. You learned to walk by faith in its purest form, and that purity of faith is the very thing pulling divine manifestation into your atmosphere now. Anointed One. I recall a period of my life when nothing around me matched what God had spoken to my heart. I felt a promise inside me, but everything externally contradicted it. Doors closed, opportunities fell apart, people withdrew. I couldn't see anything resembling progress, yet something in my spirit refused to give up. And now I understand why the promise was maturing even when I couldn't see it. And that is exactly what has been happening within you. You have been carrying a promise that has been quietly developing beneath the surface, like a seed rooting itself deep underground. Just because you couldn't see the growth didn't mean the growth wasn't happening. Heaven often matures promises in silence, so that when they finally appear, they appear fully formed. This is why your current season feels spiritually heavy, yet strangely hopeful. It's as if your past and your future are brushing against each other, creating a holy tension within your heart. You can sense the ending of one cycle and the beginning of another, even though you can't fully articulate it. This is the divine tension that always precedes breakthrough. It is heaven's way of letting your spirit know, prepare yourself. Something is coming, not something small, not something ordinary, something ordained, chosen. One, you have to understand how heaven views your endurance. You didn't just survive challenges, you grew through them. You didn't just withstand storms, you learned to speak to them. You didn't just endure warfare, you developed authority from it. There is no authority without adversity, and you have faced enough adversity to walk into this next season with an authority you didn't even know you were gaining. Every spiritual battle you fought has become a weapon in your hands. Every tear you cried has become oil on your feet. Every disappointment has become a revelation. You are not stepping into this season empty, you are stepping in equipped. And now heaven is beginning to reveal why your path has been so unusual. You were never meant to follow the patterns of others. You were never meant to fit into the mold of what was familiar. You were chosen for a path that required separation, refinement, and divine instruction. There were moments when you asked God, why me, why this? But now you will begin to see that every challenge was training, every loss was preparing, every delay was aligning. You were not being held back, you were being held in place so heaven could position you correctly. Anointed One, you are stepping into what I call the magnetic phase of destiny. In this phase, what is meant for you begins to be drawn to you effortlessly. Opportunities that once required effort now begin to appear with ease. Provisions that once seemed distant now begin to locate you. People who carry divine assignment now begin to enter your life without you chasing them. You won't have to strive or force anything. Heaven is shifting you from labor into favor, from effort into ease, from striving into supernatural flow. But before manifestation comes full force, God often allows your spirit to feel a spiritual stretching, not to overwhelm you, but to prepare your capacity. The blessing coming your way requires more room, more maturity, and more spiritual stamina. You can't pour new wine into an old wineskin, not because the old wineskin is bad, but because it can't hold what is coming. And chosen one, you have been feeling this stretching in your emotions, your decisions, your relationships. and even your internal identity. That stretching is heaven enlarging your capacity so that when the blessing arrives, you won't break under its weight, you will rise under its glory. I want you to reflect on how differently you handle pressure now. Situations that once caused panic now provoke prayer. Circumstances that once broke you now build you. Disappointments that once sent you spiraling now sharpen your focus. This is spiritual maturity unfolding before your very eyes. You have become someone who can carry what heaven is about to release. And, chosen one, let me speak this clearly. The next move of God in your life will not just bless you, it will identify you. It will confirm who you truly are. It will reveal your calling. It will validate the years of warfare that seemed to make no sense. It will silence every voice that doubted you and amplify every promise heaven ever whispered to you. This is not just breakthrough. This is identity activation. Everything in your spirit has been preparing for this. Every trial, every tear, every prayer, every lonely night, every surrender. They have all been building toward this moment, a moment where heaven says now, it is time. Chosen one, breathe deeply and let this settle. You are stepping into a season where your destiny begins to speak for itself. Chosen one. As we continue deeper into the unfolding of your divine journey, I want you to recognize that you have crossed an invisible threshold. There comes a moment in every destiny, quiet, subtle, yet spiritually powerful, when heaven shifts from preparing you to positioning you. You are in that moment now. And while the world around you may look the same, your spiritual coordinates have changed. You are no longer where you once were, nor are you who you once were. The process has reshaped you, refined you, and recalibrated you for a level of purpose, influence, and supernatural provision that your former self could never have carried. Anointed one. I remember a time in my own walk when something similar happened. Nothing in my external reality looked different, yet something inside me had undeniably shifted. I felt more aware, more sensitive to God's voice, more anchored in truth, more detached from distractions that once consumed me. It was as if heaven had quietly lifted me from one dimension and placed me into another, without noise, without announcement, without warning. And that is how God often works with His chosen ones. Elevation in the Spirit rarely begins with fireworks. It begins with awareness. A deep, sacred awareness that something is aligning that you cannot see, but you can absolutely feel. This is where you are standing, chosen one. You have entered a realm of spiritual maturity many never reach because they abandon the process long before they reach the promise. But you didn't quit. You didn't break. You didn't surrender to the pressure. Instead, you surrendered to God, and that surrender has positioned you for a reward that only heaven can give. You are about to witness a divine unveiling, not just of blessings, but of identity, authority, and assignment. You see, one of the greatest shifts happening in you right now is the shift from waiting to walking. For so long you waited for clarity, waited for breakthrough, waited for confirmation, waited for the right moment. But heaven is whispering to you now, the waiting season is closing. The walking season is beginning. This means you are no longer in a place where you are simply hoping for the promise. You are in the place where you begin to live it out. This shift requires courage, not comfort. It requires movement, not hesitation. It requires boldness, not self-doubt. Anointed one. You must understand this: the battles you once faced were designed to train your spirit, not to torment your soul. You learned spiritual discipline in seasons where you had no one to lean on but God. You learned discernment in seasons where every decision carried weight. You learned perseverance in moments where quitting seemed easier than continuing. These lessons were not random, they were righteous. They forged the spiritual strength needed for you to step into the influence heaven is releasing to you now. I want you to reflect on how differently you walk now. You no longer move from fear, you move from revelation. You no longer speak from insecurity, you speak from insight. You no longer pray from desperation, you pray from authority. And this is what scares the enemy. You have become a threat, not by shouting louder, but by standing firmer. Not by knowing more, but by trusting deeper. You have stepped into a level of spiritual stability that cannot be easily shaken. And now, heaven is preparing to expand you. This expansion won't always look like increase at first. Sometimes expansion begins with exposure. Exposure to new environments, exposure to new assignments, exposure to new responsibility. God never elevates a chosen one without enlarging their territory. And though it may feel uncomfortable at first, this enlargement is a sign that heaven is opening doors you once thought were closed to you. I have walked through seasons where God stretched me so far beyond what I believed I was capable of that I thought, Lord, why me? But later I realized that God never calls the qualified, He qualifies the called. And chosen one, you have been called. Not casually, not accidentally, not coincidentally. You have been intentionally chosen for a divine purpose that requires the level of wisdom, endurance, humility, and resilience that only your journey could have produced. This next phase of your life will require you to trust God on a deeper level than before, not because danger is ahead, but because destiny is ahead. Destiny always requires deeper trust. Destiny requires you to walk into rooms you feel unprepared for, only to discover that heaven already prepared you. Destiny requires you to step into opportunities that feel bigger than your capacity, only to watch God expand your capacity as you move. Chosen. One, heaven is not calling you to repeat old cycles. Heaven is calling you to break them. You are the one chosen to shift the spiritual trajectory of your lineage, to carry blessings that generations before you could not access, to walk in a level of favor and provision that once seemed impossible. You are the hinge through which God is swinging open a new future. And though you may still feel remnants of fear, understand this. Fear is not a sign that you are unqualified. Fear is a sign that you are stepping into something greater than you have ever known. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. Courage means the fear no longer controls your steps. Chosen one, heaven has seen your faithfulness. Heaven has recorded your endurance. Heaven has watched your transformation. And now heaven is ready to reward your obedience with manifestation so undeniable that even you will say, only God could have done this. Chosen one. As we step into this final unveiling of your journey, I want you to understand something profoundly important. You are not ending a chapter. You are stepping into a completely new spiritual dimension. Everything you have walked through, everything you have endured, everything that has pressed you, stretched you, refined you, and reshaped you, has brought you to this sacred threshold. You are standing in a moment where heaven is not simply observing you. Heaven is endorsing you. The weight of divine approval is settling over your life. And whether you fully recognize it or not, you have been prepared for this since the very beginning. Anointed one. There were times when you questioned whether you had what it takes, times when you wondered if the vision in your heart was too big for your hands to carry, Times when the setbacks felt personal, the delays felt discouraging, and the warfare felt overwhelming. But here is what you didn't always see. Heaven never questioned you. Heaven never doubted you. Heaven never reconsidered the calling placed on your life. While you wrestled with insecurity, heaven was refining your identity. While you battled uncertainty, heaven was strengthening your foundation. While you waited for breakthrough, breakthrough was being prepared with your name written on it. And a chosen one. You're stepping into a realm where everything begins to make sense. The pain finds purpose. The tears find meaning. The delays reveal their divine timing. You're no longer walking blindly, you're walking boldly. You're no longer hoping timidly, you're expecting confidently. You're no longer surviving, you're stepping into spiritual rulership. This is the transition heaven has been orchestrating, the rise of a chosen one who has been tried by fire and proven by endurance. There is a clarity coming to you in this season, the kind of clarity that removes the fog of confusion and illuminates the path ahead. The questions that once haunted you will begin to fade as God reveals answers you didn't even know you were seeking. You will understand why He closed certain doors. You will understand why He removed certain people. You will understand why He delayed certain opportunities, because now, in this moment, the alignment is perfect. Had anything happened earlier, it would have crippled you. Had anything happened later, it would have missed you. But now is heaven's time. Chosen one. I want you to pay attention to the shifts happening within your spirit. You are beginning to crave different conversations, different environments, different disciplines. This is not random. This is the sign that your spirit has outgrown the place where your body still stands. Heaven is pulling you upward. Heaven is calling you higher. Heaven is elevating your identity, your thinking, your faith, your influence, and even your expectations. You can no longer settle for what once satisfied you. You can no longer shrink to fit spaces you have outgrown. You can no longer apologize for the power God has placed inside you. There was a season when you were hidden, and you mistook hiddenness for insignificance. But hiddenness is heaven's protection. God hid you because He was shaping you. God hid you because you were not ready to be revealed. God hid you because premature exposure destroys what preparation preserves. And now that you have been shaped, refined, strengthened, and matured, heaven is preparing to reveal you. The season of hiding is closing, and the season of unveiling is opening. And this unveiling comes with divine provision. The chosen one. You need to understand the magnitude of what heaven is releasing. This is not small provision. This is not temporary provision. This is not survival-level provision. This is kingdom-level provision. Wealth attached to purpose resources, assigned to calling abundance, designed to fund destiny. You are not stepping into money, you are stepping into mandate. You are not stepping into prosperity, you are stepping into purpose. Heaven will not release what you cannot steward, and now heaven sees that you are ready. I have experienced this shift before, and I can tell you, when heaven decides it is time, the blessing does not trickle, it pours. Doors open without explanation. People appear who carry exactly what you need. Opportunities rise that you didn't chase. Conversations begin that you didn't initiate. Supply flows from unexpected places. And every time you will feel that whisper in your spirit, "This is the Lord's doing." That whisper is your confirmation that heaven is orchestrating what your hands could not manufacture. Chosen one. The authority you are stepping into is not merely for you, it is for those connected to you. Your breakthrough will break generational ceilings. Your elevation will activate others. Your testimony will release courage in those who have been watching your resilience from afar. You are not rising alone. You are rising as a blueprint, a demonstration of what God does with someone who refuses to quit. This final stretch of your journey requires one thing: full surrender. Not partial surrender. Not conditional surrender. Full surrender. Surrender of your fears. Surrender of your timelines. Surrender of your need to understand every detail. When you surrender fully, heaven moves fully. When you release control, heaven releases abundance. When you yield completely, heaven manifests completely. Chosen one, you have walked the long road. You have endured the refining. You have passed the hidden tests, and now heaven speaks. It is time to rise. Not quietly, not cautiously, not timidly. Rise boldly, rise confidently, rise purposefully. Heaven is backing you. Destiny is calling you. Provision is locating you. Favor is surrounding you. And the next chapter of your life will testify of one unshakable truth: God did not forget you. God prepared you. And now God is releasing you. Chosen one. As we bring this divine moment to a close, hear this with the fullness of your spirit. You're standing in your appointed time. Heaven has already shifted on your behalf, and the supernatural transfer marked for your name is no longer a future promise. It is an active movement unfolding even now. You have not listened by accident. You were drawn here because the God who watches over your purpose is releasing provision, favor, and strategy into your atmosphere. Anointed one, walk forward, knowing this truth: what you prayed for in tears, you will soon hold in testimony. The doors prepared for you are opening, the help assigned to you is being dispatched, and the money you never saw coming is aligning with divine precision. You are not stepping into blessing. Blessing is stepping into you. Heaven has already confirmed your next level, so remain faithful. Stay aligned. Guard your spirit. Move with expectation, not anxiety. Move with gratitude, not fear. Your miracle is not wandering, it is on schedule, and as you leave this moment, may the peace of God steady you, may the wisdom of God guide you, and may the abundance of God surround you like a shield. Chosen one, if this word awakened something in you, seal it with faith. Speak it aloud. Declare your alignment. Share this message with someone who needs to rise with you. And if you feel led, connect with this channel so you can continue walking in revelation, timing, and purpose. Your Kairos moment has begun. Step forward boldly, for heaven is releasing what belongs to you. Go in grace. Go in favor. Go in divine overflow.